After 5 years of incredible dedication, I discovered the heartwarming truth behind my resignation. Maplewood was a town that breathed Americana. Rustling leaves, kids riding their bikes, and the sweet scent of pie wafting from the local diner made it feel like a postcard. Jack Reynolds, the high school art teacher, was its quiet hero. He wore paint-splattered aprons like badges of honor, his wooden classroom walls offering a warm embrace filled with colors and creativity. But on one faded Tuesday, everything changed. The school board's cutting block loomed ominously over his beloved art program that he felt it like a slap in the face. The message was clear: art wasn't essential, and Jack's heart sank. How could they? He muttered, looking around the room filled with kid-made projects, a colorful tapestry woven from laughter and learning. The thought of seeing those canvases taken down was unbearable. A chill crept down his spine, a sensation so foreign in the warm embrace of Maplewood. He couldn't just stand by. As whispers of discontent spread like wildfire, he felt his bond with his students twist into a gnawing dread. Around town, parents began murmuring in hushed tones over coffee and pie. Jack could almost hear them: how art had once moved them, shaped their dreams. It hung thick in the air, electric with tension. I can't let this happen, he thought as he sifted through an avalanche of paperwork. A mounting sense of dread gripped him. Each form felt like a weight pressing down, leaving him gasping for air. He was losing himself, trapped in a maze of bureaucracy. The thought of resigning loomed larger each day, a painful surrender not just for him, but for every student who had learned to dream big under his guidance. But then the unexpected happened. Families gathered: nervous parents, encouraged students. They formed a huddle of hope in the school parking lot. Suddenly, Jack wasn't alone. They rallied behind him, raising their voices loud against the oppressive silence. It felt surreal. His classroom, once just a place full of messy brushes and bright colors, had become a symbol of resistance. The support flooded him with warmth. Faces glowed with purpose, illuminating hope where fear had threatened to take root. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Fueled by a redo of purpose, Jack stood before the school board, his heart pounding in his chest. Faces stared back, skeptical and sharp, but he felt the energy of Maplewood behind him. Jack's voice quivered but held firm, his words cutting through the tension. He spoke about creativity's irreplaceable role in education, about the dreams that colored the lives of his students. He exposed the hypocrisy of valuing scores over souls, passion over spreadsheets. As he spoke, doubt transformed into whispers of intrigue, igniting the room a spark in an otherwise dismal situation. But as the echoes of his speech faded, a terrifying truth reared its head. Was that truly enough? Could he make a lasting difference beyond those color-splashed walls? His heart raced, the specter of uncertainty hanging over Maplewood. Would the art they all cherished survive, or was this only the beginning of a much greater battle? The room hung in suspense, breaths caught, waiting for what the future would reveal. The tension inside the school board meeting room buzzed like a live wire. Jack stood at the front, surrounded by the sharp-faced members who held his fate in their hands. He could feel the weight of their stares, as heavy as the dread coiling in his stomach. Each second felt like an eternity, the air was thick with unspoken judgments and lingering skepticism. How could they not see the beauty of what they were about to erase? Just then, a familiar voice broke through the silence. Ms. Peterson, the chemistry teacher, rose from her seat. "You're wrong to think art isn't essential," she said, her voice ringing with conviction. "Art teaches students to think outside the box, to express themselves. It's a vital part of their education." The board members shifted uncomfortably, glancing at each other, their expressions betraying a flicker of uncertainty. Jack's heart swelled with gratitude. One voice turned into many as teachers and parents began to stand, one by one, each sharing their stories of how art transformed lives. "My son struggled with his emotions," a mother declared, tears shimmering in her eyes. "But through painting, he found his voice." Each testimony was a brushstroke, painting a collective picture of passion and creativity that could not be ignored, yet, looming in the shadows was an unsettling thought. What if it wasn't enough? As the crowd rallied, Jack gave a tentative nod of gratitude to Ms. Peterson. He knew they were fighting for their dreams, but a nagging doubt gnawed at him. The board watched closely, their faces inscrutable, as if Jack's speech had simply turned the dial on a cosmic scale. Suddenly, a sharp clap of thunder echoed in the distance, causing the crowd to stir uneasily. "We can't let this end here," Jack declared, raising his voice. "We must do more than just plead. We must show them what art means to us." The words poured out, igniting a fire among the supporters. They buzzed with excitement, an infectious energy coursing like electricity through the room, but just as hope kindled, the school board's chairman, a portly man with graying hair and a steely gaze, stood up, silencing the crowd with his raised hand. "Thank you for your heartfelt pleas, but this decision is about budgetary constraints," he stated coldly. "We will take everything into consideration before we vote." Jack's heart plunged. The chairman's words rang hollow, weighing down their newfound momentum. Were they fighting an unwinnable battle? Panic crept in as he felt the warmth of hope begin to flicker, like a candle in a gusty wind. As murmurs spread among the crowd, Jack squinted, scanning the audience, searching for familiar faces. Suddenly, he spotted Lily, the shy girl from his class with an artistic soul that dazzled despite her quiet demeanor. She was clutching a canvas she had created, a vibrant swirling landscape, embodying the very essence of creativity that Jack fought to preserve. In that moment, he realized this wasn't just about him. It was about the kids, about securing their future. Intent on fueling the fire, Jack turned back to the board. "We'll show you," he said, his voice falling back on the strength he felt earlier. "A gathering, a display. We will unite the community to celebrate our art program. You will see how much it means." The resolve in his voice sparked a collective gasp, a tide of determination rising among the crowd, but as he glanced toward the board's faces, he noticed a brief exchange between them, a whisper, a glance, a shared burden of secrets. What lay behind those closed doors? Had they already written this story? Jack's pulse quickened, doubt clawed its way back into his gut. Will they strike before we can rally? He wondered, his thoughts a maelstrom. In that moment, the stakes felt impossibly high. The heartbeat of Maplewood was anchored to the fate of the art program, and Jack knew he was racing against time. Would he manage to unite everyone before it was too late, or would the dream slip away into the shadows? The meeting's atmosphere shifted, leaving him reckoning what could happen next. This was only the beginning of a fight that could change everything. What secrets lay hidden within the confines of that boardroom? Jack's heart raced as the murmurs of the crowd faded into a low hum, questions hanging in the air like dark storm clouds. He could feel the tension tightening around him, draining energy from the once vibrant support he felt just moments ago. He couldn't let the board's indifferent stance crush their momentum. Ms. Peterson stepped towards him, her gaze steady. "We need a plan, Jack. Something that will make them see." "Right," Jack nodded, his mind racing. "A public art exhibition. Let the community create pieces for it. We'll showcase everyone's work. Parents, kids, alumni. We'll make it impossible for them to ignore our passion." Drawing in more voices could definitely tip the scales, she agreed, her eyes brightening. The idea sparked a renewed sense of purpose. But doubt still gnawed at him. In an instant, the vision of Lily's swirling canvas flashed in his mind. What if they could involve her, inspire her to take on a leadership role? As Jack turned his thoughts into actions, he could feel the excitement bubble within the crowd again. "Who's with us?" he shouted. Hands shot up in unity, some cheering, others chanting slogans that filled the room with life. But amidst the fervor, the board's chairman quirked a brow, sliding his glasses down his nose to regard Jack with a calculating stare. "And what makes you think an exhibition will change our minds?" There was an ice-cold authority in his voice, one that sent chills through Jack. Jack swallowed hard, battling the fear creeping through him. He had to believe in the power of art. Because art connects us all. It's more than just some budget line, you'll see it when the entire community comes together. The chairman dismissed him with a wave, but the glint in his eyes showed he wasn't finished. "We'll see about that. But don't think for a second we won't hold you accountable for any disruption to school operations." A knot formed in Jack's stomach. Did they know about the financial practices? Would they use the exhibition against him? Trust vanished as uncertainty darkened his resolve. Suddenly, a low crack of thunder echoed closer now, rattling the windows. Jack instinctively stepped back, worried about what the storm might bring both outside and inside the boardroom. Vague shadows danced behind the stony-faced board members, whispers of conspiracy weaving through the click of pens and rustle of papers. The meeting concluded abruptly with murmurs of discontent echoing in the room. But Jack couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. He shot a glance at Ms. Peterson, her brow furrowed in concern. "There's something lurking behind their decisions, Jack. I can feel it." He turned toward the audience, now buzzing with excitement but tinged with apprehension. "No time for doubts. We need to mobilize. Everyone needs to know about the exhibition, parents, neighbors, everyone. We'll show them what art means." As he hurried out with renewed strength, a thought nagged at the back of his mind. How far would the board go to protect their secrets? The storm outside intensified, rain lashing against the glass. It was a chaotic symphony that mirrored the turmoil growing within the district. What if Jack exposed something shocking that changed everything? What if the foundation of their glacial decisions was more twisted than anyone imagined? With the clock ticking, each step felt heavier, like quicksand sucking him deeper into a mystery he hadn't seen coming. The stakes were rising. He had lit a fire, but would it burn bright enough to reveal the truth lurking in the shadows? The storm raged on, echoing the uncertainty swirling around them. Jack knew he needed answers, and fast. What would happen if he veered off the path they had laid out? Could he unravel the secrets binding the boardroom together before it was too late? As he stepped outside, Jack felt the wind whip through his hair, anger from the storm reflected in the darkening sky above. The streets were almost deserted, save for the rain spattering against pavement like a desperate cry for help. Each drop felt like a reminder of the urgency coursing through his veins. In the distance, he could hear the thunder rumbling again. It sounded different this time, like a warning, like an echo of the heavy decisions weighing on him. He needed to talk to Lily. She would know how to rally the kids, how to infuse their art with passion that could awaken even the most steadfast board members. That he quickly pulled out his phone, typing her number like it was a lifeline. "Lily, it's Jack. I need you." He felt his heart hammering against his chest as he awaited her response. "Jack. What is going on?" Her voice was clear, but there was an edge of worry he couldn't ignore. "I'm starting a community art exhibition. I want you to help lead it. Are you in?" Silence stretched between them, filled only by the popping sound of lightning in the distance. "That sounds amazing, but are you sure that's the right move?" Jack bit his lip, fighting against a wave of doubt. "It has to be. This is bigger than us. If we show them what we're made of, they can't turn their backs on the community. They have to see the passion." There was a pause before she replied, "All right, I'll help. Let us make it unforgettable." As they brainstormed exciting ideas for the exhibition, Jack felt the stormy tension lift just a little. He knew why Lily's presence was critical. Her talent could pull in their peers, her guiding energy could bridge the gap between the students and the board. Together, they could create a force that demanded recognition. Just then, he noticed a figure lurking in the shadows across the street. The dim light reflected off the glass of a parked car. His pulse quickened, instincts kicking in. Who was it? A board member? Someone spying? An uneasy chill crawled down his spine that he squinted, the rain falling harder, obscuring his view. Then, the figure slipped back into the darkness, leaving behind only the echo of footsteps. Jack's mind raced with possibilities. Had they already caught wind of what he was planning? Panic flared deep within him that he turned back to his phone. "Lily, I'll call you later." He hung up, heart pounding as he moved cautiously down the street, glancing over his shoulder. The storm added to the chorus of chaos around him, each raindrop a reminder of the secret swirling just beyond reach. Jack felt it then, the weight of something sinister. Fear trickled into his thoughts as he wondered about the consequences waiting at every turn. Had he unknowingly stepped into a trap? With newfound determination, he rushed to gather support, convinced that the board wouldn't just fight back, they would strike hard. He resolved to gather allies tonight, ready to decipher the hidden agendas that could jeopardize everything they loved. As he entered the bustling local coffee shop, he spotted familiar faces among the tables, talking, laughing, and uniting over the cause. A shudder of relief washed over him. There was strength in numbers. Tonight would be the night they would plan their next move, the night they would prepare for a showdown. But just as he was about to approach the group, the entrance bell chimed, and a figure walked in. It was a tall man in a slick suit, dripping wet and looking sharp, scanning the cafe with an unsettling intensity. Jack felt a jolt of electricity course through the air. What did this man want? Who was he, and how did he fit into all of this? As Jack made his way closer to the group, a sinking feeling enveloped him. This looming presence could either be their greatest ally or their worst enemy. Would he change the course of their plans forever? Jack's heart raced as he watched the man in the slick suit glide through the cafe. A chill washed over him that had nothing to do with the storm outside. The atmosphere shifted, laughter stilled, and a dozen curious eyes turned toward the newcomer. Was it just his discomfort, or did everyone sense the threat he carried? Clenching his fists, Jack forced himself forward, hoping to reach the safety of familiar faces. He had to focus, his mission was too vital. Every detail counted, every moment mattered. But the man's penetrating gaze seemed to latch onto him, drawing him in, making it hard to breathe. "Hey, Jack." A voice broke through the tension. Maria, an art student and fierce advocate for the community, beckoned him over. He could see excitement lighting up her eyes, but there was a hint of concern hidden beneath it. "Did you see him?" she whispered, nodding toward the stranger. "He just walked in. No one knows him." Jack nodded, irritation creeping in. The last thing he needed was to be distracted. "We can't let him intimidate us. We have a plan." Maria bit her lip but nodded resolutely. "Right. But we should keep an eye on him. Just in case." Before Jack could respond, the suited man approached their table, his figure casting a long shadow. He must have felt the weight of their gazes, because he smiled a calculative charm that sent goosebumps creeping up Jack's arms. "Good evening, everyone," he said. His voice flowed smooth as silk, but Jack sensed a disdain lurking beneath the surface. "I couldn't help but overhear your, vibrant discussions about the community exhibition. Quite ambitious, don't you think?" Jack swallowed hard. "We're fighting for something important. Our art deserves recognition." The man raised an eyebrow, amusement dancing in his eyes. "Does it? You know, ambition can often lead one astray, especially when you don't have the proper backing." The nervous energy in the cafe spiked as tension crackled in the air. Jack clenched his teeth. He could already feel resistance simmering beneath the surface. "You don't know what we're capable of." "Actually, I do." The man leaned closer, lowered his voice, and fixed Jack with a challenging glare. "I'm very much aware of the stakes involved, Jack. You're venturing into a dangerous territory." A beat of silence. "And trust me, it's best to withdraw now. It could save you a lot of heartache." "Heartache?" Fear settled into Jack's bones as he glanced at the concerned faces of his friends. He couldn't let this man intimidate him. And if I don't? If I go through with this? The man's smile widened but didn't reach his eyes. Then I suggest you prepare for a fight you might not be ready for. He straightened with a practiced ease, giving one last look around before turning to leave. As he stepped back, the cafe buzzed with murmurs. Jack's stomach twisted with apprehension. Who was this man, and what power did he hold? The weight of his words lingered in the air, an unspoken threat. Jack turned to his group, who were visibly shaken. We can't let him stop us. We'll show them what we can do. Jack, Maria whispered, her voice trembling. What if he really does have connections? What if we're over our heads? The fear in her eyes was a mirror of what Jack felt. Something deep within him whispered that this wasn't just about the exhibition anymore. It was about fighting for their future, their voices. Could he potentially lead his friends into a battle they couldn't win? Suddenly, the cafe door swung wide open again. A flash of lightning lit up the night, momentarily revealing another shadow lurking just outside, a figure cloaked in darkness again, watching with intent. Jack's breath hitched. Who were they now? What did they want? One thing was clear, the stakes had never been higher, and he had to act. But could watching the shadows unleash unprecedented chaos force their hands or lead to their downfall? As fear gripped him, Jack faced his friends. He hesitated, uncertainty gnawing at him. Are we really bound to fight this? And with that lingering question, uncertainty hung in the air like the storm surging outside. What would be their next move? The wind howled outside, rattling the cafe windows. Jack's heart raced as he tried to steady his thoughts. The weight of uncertainty felt heavier now, a tangible pressure hanging over him and his friends. What had he just invited them into? Listen, he said, forcing urgency into his tone, we can't back down. We've been working too hard for this. We have to believe in ourselves. His friends exchanged glances, hesitation painted across their faces. Maria took a deep breath, her eyes darting toward the door. But what if that man knows something we don't? What if he carries power that could end everything? As if on cue, a thunderclap echoed across the sky, intensifying the tension. Jack's mind raced with questions. Who was that man? Why was he so interested in them? And what game was he playing? Let us not let fear dictate our path, Jack said, determination knitting his brows together. This is about our art, our voices. If we chicken out now, he wins. Maria nodded slowly, but Jack could see the remnants of doubt in her eyes. Okay, but let us devise a plan. We need backup information or someone who can help. At that moment, the dark figure lurking outside stepped forward into the light, revealing a glint of familiar eyes. It was Gabriel, an old friend and art critic known for his passionate advocacy within the art community. Jack's heart leapt. If anyone could help them navigate this murky waters, it was Gabriel. Gabriel! Jack shouted, waving him over. We need you. As Gabriel approached, the anxious crowd around them fell silent once again, drawn into the spectacle. He had a reputation, the kind that inspired loyalty but also fear. Jack could sense the weight of expectations as Gabriel reached their table, his expression serious. What is going on? Gabriel asked briskly, scanning the room. I felt the tension from outside. Before Jack could answer, the suited man returned, an unsettling grin plastered across his face. Ah, perfect. The critic is here, he said, his voice now dripping with confidence. Let us see just how far your ambitions can take you, shall we? Gabriel turned to face him, irritation flashing in his eyes. You again. What do you want with them? The man straightened, a sharpness to his demeanor that put the cafe on edge. I'm merely a humble observer with a penchant for truth. And I can see the cracks already forming in your little dream. Jack's heart sank. There was something predatory in the way the man spoke, a threat masked as curiosity. What truth? Jack demanded, drawing his shoulders back. You don't scare us. Don't I? The man leaned closer, eyes flickering between Jack and Gabriel. You have no idea what kind of storms are brewing just outside this cafe. With every stroke of your brush, you could bring them down on your heads. A murmur rippled through the cafe. Whispers of uncertainty curling around them like a swarm of angry bees. Jack's grip tightened around the edge of the table, willing himself to stand firm. We won't allow you to intimidate us. We'll carry on, come hell or high water. Passionate words from a scared little artist, the man taunted, backing away with an air of malicious delight. I'll be waiting to see how this unfolds. Just know the shadows at the door have their own intentions. With that, he stepped back, disappearing into the crowd, leaving a heavy silence in his wake. Jack felt the weight of the room shift again. All eyes now hovered on him and Gabriel as anxiety settled tightly in the air. They were being challenged in ways they had never anticipated. Jack, we have to figure out our next move, Gabriel urged, urgency rolling from his voice. Let us get out of here. Maria's eyes were wide, fear coursing through her veins. We can talk strategy somewhere safer. But as Jack stood, ready to lead the group away, a scream erupted from the back of the cafe. The piercing sound cut through the tension like a knife. Help! Someone's here. Heads turned, panic rippling forward. Jack's stomach dropped as he caught sight of shadowy forms slinking around the cafe, menacing and armed with intentions that could only spell danger. We're not safe here. Jack shouted, his voice barely heard over the chaos starting to erupt. As people scrambled for exits, Jack and his friends locked eyes. What had they stepped into? With dread tightening around him, Jack whispered, we have to face this together. Whatever they want, we won't let them take it. But would they have the strength to confront this storm brewing just outside? And with that question looming ominously over them, Jack realized they could either stand and fight or become part of the shadows. Which would they choose? The shrill scream reverberated through the cafe like a thunderclap, igniting a wave of panic. Jack felt a cold sweat slick his palms as he searched for the source of the commotion. His pulse quickened, chaos unfolded around them, chairs scraping against the floor, coffee cups tumbling, shattering on impact. Go, go, go! Jack yelled, grabbing Maria's arm, pulling her toward the exit. But there was a wall of bodies, surging and pressing, blocking their path. The shadowy figures moved with determination, dark silhouettes cutting through the frantic crowd. They were closing in. Gabriel was trying to calm the crowd, his commanding voice slicing through the panic. Everyone, stay calm. Don't rush. But his words barely penetrated the fray. Jack could see the fear etched on the faces around him, every person only interested in saving themselves. Help us! Maria shouted, reaching out to Gabe, but he was already pushing forward, inching toward the chaos in a desperate attempt to rally the scattered patrons. Jack's chest tightened. They had to do something, anything. The clock was ticking, each second feeling like a countdown to disaster, and then Jack saw him, a tall figure standing across the room, a commanding presence amidst the turmoil. The suited man, lurking in the shadows, a twisted smile still plastered on his face as he watched the chaos he had incited unfold. Jack's heart raced, a cocktail of fear and rage fueling his adrenaline. Let us get to him! Jack shouted, pulling Maria and Gabriel away from the throng. They needed answers, and he wasn't about to let this man slip away, turning this nightmare into some twisted game. They pushed through the pandemonium, moving against the tide of terrified patrons. The suited man's eyes glinted with wicked glee, his satisfaction palpable as he reveled in the panic. Each step forward felt like wading through molasses, but determination propelled Jack closer. Why are you doing this? He shouted, straining to be heard over the screaming crowd. Ah, the brave little artist wants to talk. The man's voice laced with mockery came clear as a bell despite the surrounding chaos. You're too deep in, my friend. The web is already spun. The threads can't be undone. Shut up. Jack yelled, feeling something crack, a surge of anger boiling over. You don't get to manipulate us. He lunged forward, fueled by emotion, but the suited man sidestepped with a quickness that mocked Jack's intention. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the back, causing heads to whip around. A table had toppled over, sending people sprawling to the ground. Voices of anger mixed with cries of fear. Jack looked back, his resolve cracking. The urgency pulsed through him like an electric current. They were running out of time. Jack! Maria shouted, panic rising in her voice. We need to get everyone out. But the cafe doors were jammed with a mass of frantic people, and Jack knew every second wasted was one that could cost them dearly. He felt the eyes of the suited man on him, unblinking, the threat ever present. With a final pang of desperation, Jack turned back to the chaos. Listen up! He bellowed, surprising even himself with the power of his voice. We have to move as one. Trust each other. Those words hung in the air for a moment, drawing attention away from the suited man. A few heads turned, confusion mixed with a flicker of hope. It was enough. Follow me. He urged. With uncertain glances exchanged, a few patrons began to rally, moving with Jack as he led them toward the nearest exit. Maria and Gabriel flanked him, their determination rekindled. As they approached the door, the suited man's smirk faded, replaced by something darker. You think you can just walk away? He called out, voice tinged with menace. Jack didn't stop to look back. We're not afraid of you. He shouted, adrenaline rushing through his veins. But as they reached the entrance, a sudden crash brought everything to a halt. Another figure emerged from the shadows, blocking their exit, face obscured by a hood. Going somewhere? The figure hissed, stepping into the flickering light of the cafe. Jack's heart plummeted. The storm was only just beginning, and with fear choking his breath, he realized that facing the shadows may prove deadlier than he ever anticipated. What other darkness awaited them just beyond the threshold? The hooded figure stood there, an ominous silhouette against the dim cafe lights. Jack's mind raced. There wasn't even a hint of a way out now. The tension vibrated in the air, thick like storm clouds ready to burst. He glanced at Maria, her face pale, eyes wide as the realization hit them both. They were trapped. Step aside! Jack shouted, trying to sound more confident than he felt. But his heart thundered against his ribcage. His voice trembled. We're not here to fight. Just let us through. The figure remained silent, unmoved. Only a cold wind seemed to swirl around them, carrying whispers of doubt. Jack's chest tightened, a lump forming in his throat. The chaos behind them swelled, screams getting sharper, cries melding into a symphony of despair and desperation. Your courage is admirable, Jack, the suited man interrupted, his tone mocking yet somehow intimate, as if they were old friends. But the hooded one, he's my ace. You won't get past him. Jack swallowed hard, adrenaline surging through him. Behind the mysterious figure, the cafe was still in turmoil. People clambered over fallen tables, clutching phones, their faces wreathed in fear. It was a nightmare, a scene that felt surreal yet utterly tangible. Back to the exit. Jack yelled to the small crowd that had gathered behind him. They looked to him for guidance. Their expressions fear, panic, uncertainty shot through him like arrows. We'll find another way, he added, fighting to keep the tremor from his voice. Then, the hooded figure stirred. With a sudden flick of the wrist, he pulled back the hood. The face that emerged burned itself into Jack's memory. Familiar yet terrifying. It was someone he knew, someone he thought was gone for good. You should have stayed hidden, Jack, they breathed, voice a low, sinister echo. What? No, it can't be you. Jack gasped, his mind tripping over disbelief. The shock momentarily paralyzed him, leaving him helpless and wide-eyed in the storm of chaos. Surprised to see me? The figure smiled, thin, cracked lips curling, eyes glinting with malice. You were always such a good little artist, but art doesn't save you here. Maria moved closer to Jack, shaking her head. Who are you? She demanded, her voice steadier than Jack's. But Jack knew the answer, memories rushing back like floodwaters. This was someone whose disappearance had left a wound in his life. I am the reason you're all here, the figure said, reveling in their power, the satisfaction gleaming in those sharp eyes. And it's time for the curtain to rise. A sound from behind made Jack spin around. Gabriel was pushing through the crowd, trying to reach them. Jack! Maria! Get back! He yelled, cutting through the din of despair. But Jack felt a crushing weight in his chest, the unveiling of truth, a truth that could destroy everything he thought he believed. I've seen things you wouldn't understand, the figure continued, their voice drawing Jack back. And your life, Jack? It's a canvas I've painted myself. The world felt like it was collapsing in on him. Everything he fought for, every hope and dream, seemed tainted. Jack's knees buckled just slightly. No. You don't get to control this. He shot back, standing tall despite the whirlwind of emotions to face the figure. The suited man chuckled from the shadows, his presence a dark cloud looming over them. Oh, but the game has only just begun. And the stakes? They're higher than you think. As Jack's mind churned, trying to absorb the fathomless twists in this nightmare, the crowd surged behind him. Confusion flooded the space, and the atmosphere became electric, teetering on the brink of chaos once again. What now? Jack whispered, grappling with the realization that they had become pieces on someone else's board, manipulated and controlled. In the turmoil, an echo rang through his mind, a flicker of defiance sparking within him. No more running, he roared. No more hiding. The unexpected move sent those nearby into a frenzy, but it also stoked the embers of rebellion. Suddenly, the energy shifted. Their hope became tangible, a collective force began to rise. With a swift motion, he turned and addressed the crowd, "Are you with me?" But as they prepared to surge forward, the hooded figure laughed. "You can't escape the past, Jack. It always finds you." And just like that, the cafe trembled at the brink of all-out chaos once again. What would break first? Their resolve or the bonds of a past they couldn't outrun? The tension in the cafe thickened, almost suffocating as everyone held their breath, unsure of what would come next. Jack's heart raced, a rhythmic drum pounding in his ears as he locked eyes with the figure before him, the ghost of his past. "Listen to me," Jack shouted, desperation edging his voice. "We can figure this out." "We can figure what out?" The hooded figure interjected, their voice cold, slicing through the air like ice. "That your pathetic little lives are mere strokes on my canvas. You never were the artist you thought you were." A wave of fury surged through Jack, powerful and blinding. "You don't get to dictate my story." He stepped forward, drawing strength from the dwindling sense of safety among the terrified crowd. But doubt gnawed at him. What if he was losing control of his own narrative? Maria clutched Jack's arm, her grip tightening. "Jack, we have to get out. We don't know what they want." "I know what they want." He spat back, dragging in a shaky breath. "They want chaos. They want to see us suffer." A cacophony of gasps rippled through the crowd, eyes darting around, panic swirling like a tornado. Gabriel fought against the stream, his face lined with urgency. "Jack! We can't stay here." The the suited man raised a disinterested hand, silencing Gabriel. "You see, everyone here has a role to play. Like actors in a twisted play. You don't get to choose your exit, but I can assure you the finale will be unforgettable." Rage flared within Jack, igniting something deep and primal. "This isn't your game. You're not the puppet master of my life." With a swift motion, he turned to the crowd again, eyes blazing. "You all matter. Don't let fear rule you." But his words fell flat against the weight of the looming figures. The hooded one leaned closer, shadows dancing over their features. Fear is only a part of it, Jack. Embrace it. Use it. But know this: every action has consequences, and yours will be drastic. Suddenly, the lights flickered, and an earthy darkness draped over the cafe. The shouts and screams intensified as people pushed through one another, frantic in their attempts to escape. Jack's pulse quickened, pounding in tandem with the chaos that erupted around them. Stay together. He yelled over the din, but the crowd was growing restless and disorganized. Panic seeped into the air like a thick fog. He felt Maria move closer, her presence grounding him, yet the world around them began to splinter. The suited man chuckled. Look at them, Jack. They're puppets, just like you. You've lost control. You can't protect them from what's coming. Jack's chest tightened painfully as he saw fear in the eyes of those around him, blurring together in the dim, flickering light. How can you do this? He barked at the figure, an icy dread settling within him. Because I can, the figure replied, tilting their head. But don't fret, the end is merely a beginning. Just watch. Outside, the commotion escalated, glass shattering, screams merging into one gut-wrenching chorus. And then, just like that, the cafe erupted. Above them, a deafening crash sent debris flying as the roof gave way, splintering under immense pressure. In that heart-stopping moment, Jack could only instinctively grab Maria's hand, eyes wide as he shouted, "Get down!" As chaos blanketed the space, darkness swallowed them whole. Everything warped in a whirlpool of sound: screams, wood splintering, glasses shattering, despair mingling with confusion. And in the pitch blackness, a sudden whisper broke through, cold and biting. This is just the beginning. What awaited them on the other side of this darkness? Would they be ready to face what lay ahead? The dust began to settle slowly, swirling through the air like phantoms. Jack's eyes blinked open, fighting to adjust to the fading light, sifting through the chaos surrounding him. All around, fragments of shattered wood and glass lay scattered, like remnants of dreams turned to nightmares. His heart thudded in his chest. Maria! He croaked, voice hoarse, fear clenching his chest. He pushed himself up, adrenaline still thrumming in his veins. He couldn't think of losing her in this madness. Jack! Her voice came like a tether, cutting through the haze. He turned and spotted her amidst the rubble, pushing herself up, dusting off debris caught in her hair. Gabriel stumbled beside her, concern etched across his face. "He's gone," she gasped, looking around wildly. The suited man and the hooded figure, they vanished. The realization crashed into Jack like a cold wave. Their tormentors had slipped away amidst the chaos, a cruel reminder that the fight was far from over. He felt the enormity of their presence lingering like a ghost, a challenge still echoing in the shadows left behind, but deeper worry clawed at his stomach. Were they responsible for the destruction? Did they mean to create this carnage, or had they simply leaned on the chaos as a tool to unsettle them? The line between villain and victim became blurred in this storm. His resolve hardened visibly as he pulled Maria closer. "We can't let them win. We need a plan now." People trickled cautiously from the cafe's ruined entrance, blinking against the brightness that flooded in. Others looked caught in a labyrinth of confusion, fear casting a pall over their faces. He felt the weight of responsibility. His friends looked to him to lead, to reignite the spark they had cultivated for art and community. "Listen up!" Jack yelled, urgency saturating his tone. "This is not how we end our story. We need to show this town what art means, what we're capable of." "Are you insane?" Gabriel interjected, concern flooding his words. "After all this? They'll come after us again. Let them." Jack declared, feeling his chest swell with conviction. "We can't cower anymore. We need to gather everyone who believes in this, anyone who can color this fight with hope. We need a counter-display, a rally of our own to showcase the heart of Maplewood." "What do you mean?" Maria asked, confusion mixed with eagerness. "A community exhibition. We'll take it to the streets, beyond the confines of the cafe and that boardroom. This is their darkness, but we'll burn through with our light. He felt a fire ignite within the group, their hesitations melting like snow in the sun. And we'll fill that place with art. Students, parents, or anyone who can share what this means. We'll make it impossible for them to ignore us. Suddenly, a wave of renewed unity washed over them. Eyes brightened, hope replacing the remnants of fear. They began forming a plan, merging whispered ideas into a solid ground as they navigated the path before them. We'll meet at the park. We'll go full throttle, using every space we can find. Jack felt the rhythm of excitement pulse in the air, building momentum like the crescendo of a song. As they moved toward the exit, preparing to face the world outside, Jack glanced back at the wreckage of the cafe. Something bubbled within his gut, a fierce determination to never let fear dictate his life again, to drive forward instead of retreating from the shadows. The following days turned into a whirlwind of activity, painting over the remnants of chaos as the colors of Maplewood bled vibrantly into each space. Jack's vision sparked to life, embraced by students, parents, and even curious onlookers who felt the energy of hope resonate from afar. Each brushstroke transformed not only canvas but also hearts. As the day of the exhibition approached, Jack took a moment to breathe in the world anew. It was about more than fighting the board or wrestling with shadows, it was about celebrating everything they cherished. His heartbeat matched the rhythm of laughter and creativity that echoed through every corner of the park. On the day itself, the sun broke through the clouds like a spotlight, illuminating the stories told through paintings and sculptures. Art erupted from everywhere, cascading emotion that could shake the toughest of hearts. The community rallied, voices rising in unison. Jack smiled as he watched Lily lead a group of her classmates with canvases, their spirited energy contagious. As the exhibition unfolded, the board had no choice but to witness the immense tide of support washing over them. Every piece of art was a testimony, every voice was a declaration. In the end, it wasn't just about survival. They had brought the heart of Maplewood back to life, turning shadows into light, and as Jack stepped back, amidst the laughter, colors, and sheer joy pulsing around him, he felt that the heavy weight of fear that had clung to him so tightly shattered into a million shards. Together, he whispered, softly as if sealing a promise with the universe. Nothing could separate them now. With every future canvas yet to be painted, Jack knew their story wasn't just a battle, it was a beginning. The weight of darkness had faded, ushering in the dawn of a brighter tomorrow. And now, if you enjoy these stories, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss our next exclusive tales. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your thoughts and reactions and theories about this ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Let us grow this community together.